What's going on, guys? This is Mike with the 1% Mindset Podcast. I have the beautiful Aquila with me. How are you doing?
Hi, Mike. How are you? I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. Well, first off, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure everyone is going to be ecstatic once they hear this podcast. So, kind of want to dive right in. You are Aquila, the astrologer. Tell me about how you got into astrology in the first place.
Well, I've been into astrology since I was really young. I grew up in the islands and I used to watch moon cycles and learn about them with the women in the islands. And I didn't really understand yet how that would play into me being an astrologer until I moved to New York. And in New York, I started learning that I was a Scorpio, and I found out what that meant. I went on a journey really researching about it, and I fell in love with it. And I realized how it had such a big correlation with the moon cycles that I had learned early on in my upbringing in the islands, and how the moon cycles went with astrology, and how the moon, waxes and wanes, whether it's a new moon or a full moon, and how that affects the tides of the water, affecting the tides of the blood in the body, and everything like that. So it was just a really big aha moment. And I just fell in love with it and just started learning more about it and more about people. And more and more people started to ask me to do readings for them. It was something that I started off as a self-discovery thing for myself. Um, and then I ended up learning so much about everyone else around me, my family, my mother, my brothers, my lover, my friends, and it was a really good tool for timing. And I'm from the Caribbean, so we have this thing in the Caribbean where we're always late for everything. And with the tool of astrology, I was able to understand timing and rhythms and when things are coming and when things are going. So it was very simple once you learn the rhythm of your energy wheel, which is what the chart represents in astrology.
Okay, I want to kind of backtrack a little. So I know you said you were always into it. Now, when did you start actually really diving in, becoming the brand of who you are? Like, when did that first start taking place?
Well, that really started about 6 years ago, which was really around 2000, I think 2012, and I was just having a lot of revelations and dreams. I was always having revelations and dreams, but it began to be very in sync with a lot of things that were happening around with the people in my life. And I started to be able to see different colors and auras and numbers and sets of timing and symbols. I became more of like a symbol reader than an actual like reader of the alphabet. And I just started doing crazy amount of charts, trying to understand people. And I someone told me you should really try to make money from this, and I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I started a YouTube account, just doing tarot and astrology, what I love, and not thinking anything of it. And it actually began this wheel of me meeting so many different authors of books, astrology books that I've read since I was a teenager in Brooklyn growing up. And it was really around that time that I started, I would say, practicing astrology and charging for my work. And it is just up until literally last year that I decided to go into it professionally and start my practice and all this other stuff as well.
Okay, awesome. So for people, I would say you see a lot of people that do it to make money, or even the fakes. Like I think about like Miss Cleo and all of these people who kind of just do it, and it has like this bad negative stereotype a lot of times around like tarot card readers and people who can read the palm of your hands and stuff like that. How did you know for you like it was real, and how do you explain that to people that this is something that's legitimate, so to speak?
Right. That is a very complicated question, and I can't answer it really directly because I feel like this kind of work is not something that you need to convince people of. It's either something that a person feels within them and believes it, or they don't. My job is not to convert anyone into astrology or tarot. It's really more so for those people that have already an opening for that in their world, and they need specific types of answers regarding energy and vibration and what's happening in terms of the transits and cycles of their life, because a lot of people go through different transitions, and I do feel like astrology is an amazing tool to allow people to understand what is happening, especially now with the millennials getting older and just revolutionary time that we're in. A lot of people are not really grounded, and they're trying to understand what's going on. And I feel like this astrology gives people a very different outlook to their basic energy and what they need to really feel healthy, safe in an environment. And if people feel like this is something that we're trying to sell to make money, then I guess we would be also asking all these different belief systems why they charge for some of their services as well, and why is it that they have cathedrals and mounts of other things around in honor of what they believe in, when with astrologers we really don't even get a respect really in the professional world. So if we're doing this, it's not really to gain some type of access to people's money, because not a lot of people believe in this in the general public when you look at it, and maybe secretly, but societally, a lot of people are still into their culture's belief, and astrology is very systemic in every basic culture that you can think of, ancient culture, but it is something that we don't talk about with that. But no one is trying to convert or and there are people out there that do try to use their energy to scam people, but that's not my objective. My objective is for you to understand your cycles, your rhythms, and then allow you to make the best choices which are right for you, but in your time, in your timing, because we all have a certain time frame and a certain type of ability and willpower to actually initiate what we want at different stages of our life. So that's uh, that's what I can say about that question.
Okay, so you have obviously all these, there's different religions: Christianity, Buddhism, Hindu, all of these different things. Where does astrology fit into that? And is it a conflict of interest? Say if I'm a Christian, for example, to do a, to believe in astrology, like where's the conflict in that, and where does astrology kind of fit into religion?
Well, astrology is actually very linked with religion. A lot of people um, that are priests that go into priesthood and have to go and study astrology is something that priests have to study. You have to study astrology to become a priest. I don't know if that's outwardly spoken about, but a priest has to learn astrology to understand cycles and rhythms and patterns when he's preaching for a different type of ceremonies. In in the Muslim religion, they're a moon-based religion, so they follow the lunar cycle. This is why Ramadan is around the time of the Cancer solstice. This is when the light and the darkness is basically equal. So the Muslims believe in that practice. The Christians are more of a solar energy. They worship the rising and the setting of the sun, which is Jesus. So a lot of these religion are based around the timings too, where Jesus was a Capricorn. And he is born on December 25th. And it's very much about solar power, solar energy, and vibrations that are coming to us at certain times that we need people to have some type of energy where you're radiating that, or you're at least dying to the old self, becoming new, because it's a new season, it's a new setting, especially Capricorn rules really the body. So really taking care of yourself differently, your family differently. It all goes into all of this with astrology. Everything is connected to rhythms and cycles of the universe, how the earth goes around the sun, how the moon goes around the earth. All of that is patterns. The universe speaks in rhythms and cycles. It's pattern. It's always about repetition in some way or form. That's why you become um, uh, a professional at something, the more and more you do that thing. And the universe then repays. It's more like rhythm. The more and more you do it, the more planets, the more energy that's recharged. The more and more you work at something, the better you become. This is what really astrology teaches about. And religion is just tied into the timing of when people have an opportunity to do that the most. Easter, really talking about, the harvesting, and the land is now fertile. The land is now fertile for people to basically plant. And Easter is really, you see the bunny. I mean, there's so much symbolism in religion, in every religion, in regards to astrology and just nature in general with the elements, because astrology deals with that as well, the elements.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that, so I definitely appreciate that insight, because I always thought, if you whether it's got a reading or
Oh, the green screen is on me. Is that okay?
yeah, that's fine, that's fine. It'll eventually pick up and it'll go back and forth, so don't worry.
Okay.
As long as the audio is there and it's there, so it's fine.
Okay.
But the I always thought that doing that, or being religious in a sense, whether again whatever it is that you practice, having astrology, you've always said, like you said, the negative stereotypes behind astrology and the devil's work, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to ask you, what did, I guess, your family think about it? You going into astrology, you making it a profession. How did the people closest to you react when they saw you were doing that?
When I first went into astrology, I was 13, and I'm from a Caribbean background with a very religious background to a Christian faith. And it was not really received very well. I actually have tattoos of the zodiac sign of Scorpio on me because I'm a Scorpio. So it was not received well. And I I had to really take time to assess my belief systems and see if this was some way, the way that my family believed, is that the way I wanted to live, or is this science, this metaphysical energy that really gives me an opportunity to assess myself, correct myself, and time myself to do things at the right time. Am I going to choose that? And I chose astrology, and it was not received very well still by my family. It wasn't until around my Saturn return at the age of 29. This is around the time where everyone begins this journey within themselves. That's the pinnacle age. You get that little spark around the age of 27, but 29 is when you really become a full-fledged adult. And that's when I decided that this is what I'm going to do. Along with me being a teacher, because I teach and I work with young children. And I was really fascinated by just how timing worked amazing. And slowly my family started to come around because they saw that I loved it so much, and that my life was beginning to change in such a dramatic way, because I was able to understand my rhythms at that time, and I stood firm in it. So it became something that they slowly actually became, I would say, interested in, but curious about. So I would say you just have to follow your heart, and I follow mine every day. I enjoy it, and I think that everyone should do something that they feel very content with on the inside. This is something that brings me contentment on the inside, and to help others with it. Oh, it's amazing.
That's awesome. That brings me to my next question, and my next point. Now that I guess they finally, you know, I guess, accepted of it, or maybe they push you and believe you. But I'll say they're accepted of it. That this is who you are, what you've done. Do you remember a specific person that you did a reading on that I don't want to say it was spot on, but they were so grateful to have the insight prior to it happening? Is there one particular case that you could think of, or and maybe it's on yourself? I don't know.
Yes. Well, I would say when I first started to learn the tarot, which is really about divination, it's really about how does your mind see a picture and
Okay.
how do you interpret a picture. So it's usually something that psychologists use when they put up those pictures and they ask you, what do you see? The tarot is kind of something like that. So when I started using the tarot, and even though I grew up learning moon cycles and all that other stuff, I still, I don't think I was really a believer in this kind of understanding of cycles and things like that, because it was not something that in New York City that I was growing up with. But I was very into the arts and opening myself up to different ways of creative expression. So the tarot just became a tool. And when I started learning the tarot through a friend of mine that had introduced me to the Egyptian tarot, which was fascinating to me because it was hieroglyphics, and it was more about the ancients and the way that the blacks practice, back in those days. And I was very fascinated by that because it really made me feel close to some type of ancestry or strong line of just seers or readers.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to study it and study it and study it, and slowly it began to speak to my subconscious, and my subconscious began to speak to me through the pictures, through and that's when I really realized, okay, this is something that's really fascinating, because once your mind is able to grasp the patterns, the way you think, you're able to understand how you see pictures, and that's the tarot. So yeah, I feel like, oh, this is it. I do tarot myself all the time, and I'm still fascinated by what comes out.
So for those who don't know, myself included, the tarot is what exactly? I know there's tarot cards and tarot reading. What is tarot? Like, how would you explain that, or what does that mean?
So the tarot, I have a tarot card actually that I can display. The tarot cards are things like this. This is the Ace of Pentacles. So this is a coin. This represents energy coming in, receiving energy, because it's not linear, it's circular. It also speaks of pentacles. Pentacles is of the earth, meaning that it has to deal with the earthly realm. It has to deal with something that you can touch, you can hold, and there's a guardian. So there's a lot of interpretation in the tarot. More so, okay, so if I have a reading with someone and this comes out and they're asking me about money, most likely you're going to get the money. It's going to be some way, somehow it's going to come to you, or you'd have to work for it, but you're going to get it. So it's a way for my client to understand that whatever they're asking me about, they can actually visualize it when the cards come out. So again, you're talking to your subconscious here. When the clients do a reading with me, everything is recorded, and everything is also then sent to you afterwards with the cards, with the meanings of everything, dates and timing. So you really kind of get a grasp of your energy. So you don't just leave like feeling like you don't remember everything, because everything is then sent back to you. And the tarot again refreshes the memory. It's really a nice science, really.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I love that. I love that you. I, I think what you said that stood out to me was just how much you studied and practiced this from the age of, you said, 13 or 14 years old, and I think through that, did you suppress at all, I guess, your love for astrology until it just, you had so much fire burning that it came out?
Um, well, I did suppress it for some time because I had a really big heartache, and I was going through some really creative blocks, and I needed to go through those things to really see what I really loved and what gave me joy in my life. So there was a point that I did suppress it. The times that I suppressed it were the times that I was the most miserable. And I was not being myself. I was trying to be what my partner wanted. I was trying to be what my mother wanted. I was trying to be what everyone else that didn't have the same mind frame or was as open minded as I was wanted. So yeah, there was a time I did, and I hated it. So I did come back from that, and it took me to leave the environment and the place and the country that I was in just to learn about myself in another way, using even my tool, which was astrology and tarot and divination.
Can you be for religion and for astrology? Now, I know you said in priesthood they have to study that. They have to kind of study astrology or at least study like the energy. But like I said, you can go to so many where it's looked down upon. Is that something that you can openly do as an astrologer, be for a religion, for a particular religion, and be an astrologer at the same time?
Oh, for sure. Nowadays, I think people are more open minded as to how they want to live their life, especially with the introduction of the internet being so widely used for people to market their work and get their creative ideas across. I do think a lot. I actually know astrologers that are that are Christian, and I know astrologers that are Muslim. I know astrologers that are from different cultures that you wouldn't expect that their cultural religion would allow. But I think when you really have an interest in something, I don't really think that something like a religion can stop you from opening your mind. Because for me, I do feel like before we judge anything, before we put our 2 cents into something, it's good that we actually try to learn about it before putting labels on it. So for people that probably don't think that you can be an astrologer and be into religion, or study astrology or be into astrology and be a religious person, I mean, everyone knows their star sign, their sun sign. You know what I mean? Even if you're a religious person, you're Pisces, and if that wasn't the case, then why is it that you even have this information in your mind? That's how, so we're kind of programmed in a weird way too to kind of look into it on our own, because it's not, it's given to you, it's just you that has to go out and search for that knowledge about yourself alone, because they're not going to just give it to you. It's your search for your truth while you're here. So um, I do feel like you can be into astrology and into religion. I feel the two go really hand in hand. Like I said, every religion has its cultural roots in some type of systemic, nature kind of origin. So I don't feel like they're separated. I feel like everything's one. When you actually study religion and you go into astrology, you really see, wow, this is really tied in like one on one.
Okay, let's have a little fun, right? So I mean, I kind of want to get the background a little bit, but I want to have a little fun. Now, I'm asking you, I'm asking you a question. I kind of want to go through the process now of what it looks like to I guess get a reading and how that works. So I
Mm-hmm.
come to you, and then is there a particular question I have on my mind that I ask you, and then you read it? How does that process work?
Okay, because you are on the video cam with me, we can do it like with session, like a session. So you already my client. You have come to me. You have contacted me through email, and you told me that you would like to book a reading with me. We book a date that is the most convenient for the two of us to speak. The meeting is about 60 minutes, and it is recorded. So you get everything that is said. Even if you forget, this will be emailed to you, so it doesn't really matter. Now, during the session, I ask for your birthday, of course, before all of this information. And in front of me, I have your birth energy. We then talk. You tell me what's going on in your life. It's a dialogue. Even though I can see, I need you to speak for the energy to come more alive. So I do tarot readings with the session, really aligning the tarot reading with the actual chart energy, mapping out things. I also use numerology system with the cards and also the degree points that you're born with. So this is a whole system, but the way that I'm interpreting these symbols to you is going to be in a practical, Mike, you're an Aquarius. Okay, so that means that right now there's a lot of stabilizing of your creative work. There's a lot of things that you may want to be interested in your creative endeavors. You're looking at different ways to probably look at how you can make your business run a little differently. You're getting into anything and possibly that you find that can be lucrative for you in the long term with your creative abilities attached to that. Now, the reason I know this is because the energy that Aquarius is having right now is more about grounding all of that mental energy, because Aquarius is fixed air, meaning that it's always in its mind, it's always in its mind, it's always in its mind. And your ruling planet has moved into a sector that deals with the ground, the earth. So it's more now, it's about coming down to earth. Everything that's in your mind needs to now come down, be grounded. It's time to go for the coins right now. It's time to really have a value system with your ideas. Your mental properties need some type of value system now. So that's what really will be going on with Aquarius in a general broad view. But when we go into the person's individual birth energy and all that, then we can get into the real nitty gritty of what's going on. Why is it that you're being propelled or pushed this way? And how is it that we can time your energy for your business to run smooth? And I'll give you special dates basically to know, okay, around this time of the year, not a good time for you to invest in this. Around that time of the year, it'd be better if you do partnerships instead of this and that. And then you navigate your energy and you get a whole year covered by me, basically, for your consultation. So I cover you for the next year with your energy so you can make some really good choices, because everything is up to you. It's your energy and your choices. You're just coming to me to figure out what is the right timing. Is he or she the right person for me? When should I get married? Is this a good financial time for me? Should I focus on this or that? That's really more so what I'm doing for you. And if somebody wants to go into the spiritual aspect, that is something else that we talk about, because the chart also talked about more so evolving and transforming, because some people are becoming more spiritual and less material. So that can be something that can be happening with them in their transition in life as well.
Right. So what I got with my free reading just now is I'm figuring out a way to monetize my creative. So that's good. Which actually is funny because I'm getting ready to release a book very soon.
Wow, congratulations.
Over the next month or so, a book is coming. Um, and I'm working on a couple courses. So I'm actually working on things. So that actually worked out great. So, thank you to the audience. I got a free reading, a broad reading of Aquarius. That's great. So typically like you said, a lot of people, you read a lot of, when you read about your signs in the newspaper and what it means, and a lot of people try to match sign by sign. Can two similar signs coexist, in a relationship setting typically, or does that depend on the sign?
Okay, so yes, two signs can of the same element and the same star sign, they can actually coexist. It really depends on your maturity level, to be very honest with you. How conscious you are, how conscious is the other person of their energy wheel and your energy wheel. So it's like really just when you know yourself. If you're a Leo and you know you like a lot of attention, but your partner is a partner that's never there, you know what I mean? It may not work, because then you may feel like you may not have compatibility with this person because you want adoration. If you're a person that likes to talk a lot and your partner likes to be physical a lot, there might be some problem. But there is, when you have maturity and you're conscious, you can compromise with the other person. You can find ways to make it work. And that usually comes, again, like I said, around the age of 29. This is around the time that you become more grounded in your natural energy, and you're able to see your strengths, your weaknesses, your limitations, your powers, and also to who's best suited to be aligned with you in relationship in general. This is around the time a lot of people have babies, they get married, or they start their career, or they start living life a completely different way than they used to ever before. Um, and there was probably some type of hinting to it even before, but this is usually when you get the most energy for it, the most will comes out of you.
Okay. Do you recommend everyone do a reading at least once, or how often do you think someone should get a reading done?
I feel that everyone should get a reading at least one time in their life by a professional astrologer, by someone that you feel comfortable with someone that you feel that you can at least relate to, talk with, and share details if need be that you will not be embarrassed of or ashamed of, or feel comfortable enough with that person. Because there are some people, like I said, we were talking about that earlier, that do take advantage of information. And you have to feel these people out. There's so many astrologers now online where you can really just feel them out through their monthly readings or their actual, like, how they're interpreting energy. So I do think that, because when you find out, I mean, I've had readings with people where they find out that the reason why they never finish something is because of this energy, and you give them tools and you give them transits, and they're able to understand, oh, this is why I don't do this. Or it's so there's so many people that if they only understood their energy, they would just do it in a in a I would say in a more knowledgeable they would deal with it in a more knowledgeable way, instead of just always hitting their head against the wall. So I do think that it is everyone should at least do a reading at least one time, um, just for navigation. If you need navigation, if you feel like that's something that you need. Yeah.
Have you done any readings for your immediate family, brother, mom, anyone?
Yes, I have. I do. I try not to, but a lot of people tend to come to me for advice with things going on in their life, whether it's financial or personal.
Okay, so you tend to do that as well. That's cool. I mean, I'm trying to think of, and just for complete transparency, you know, I've known Aquila for 15 years now,
Yeah.
maybe about
Hmm.
15 years, and I have done it, and I have done multiple readings actually,
Yeah.
with you, and me being skeptical, right? I was extremely skeptical at first. I did it. I supported, and like you said, I am a strong believer in energy. What you put out, you get back. I am a strong believer in that realm, and also being religious. So when I did it with an open mind and just to kind of see. So I wanted. That's why I asked you. How does religion play a part in astrology? Because I've never like outwardly told anyone, but as I told you, some of the things that you've mentioned to me or that you've said to me that either will happen or what you're seeing based on the cards actually kind of came came true, right? So it's definitely something to look into, right? I'm definitely not pushing it on anyone who's not there, but it's definitely something that you can absolutely look into. Now, no, I don't want to hold
Well,
you too. Go
they
ahead.
they did find Jesus by using the stars, the three wise men. So we can all look into that story if you want to learn more about interpretation of stars and following them. Yeah.
That's true. That is very true. How do people find you?
Oh yes, you can find me on YouTube at Aquila Astrology or Aquila Moon. You can find me on Instagram, Aquila Astrology or Aquila Moon as well. You can also email me at aquilaastrology@gmail.com. I will be coming out with a new website in January 2019, where I will send Mike the link so that he can link it to this this podcast so that you can book a reading with me if you're interested.
Nice. Do you have any projects or anything on the horizon? I know you said the website's coming. Do you have anything else? Some products coming out? Anything else you have going on?
Yes, for right now, I'm just working on a tarot book for people that are interested in learning about divination and tarot and elements, as well as gemstones. I do feel like gemstones are really good uh, tools to use with color psychology and things like that, with unlocking certain things with the mind. But I'll definitely keep you posted on anything else that I'll be doing, like webinars and different talks with other astrologers, tarot readers, and just psychics and mediums, people that do work that I do as well.
Excellent. And last question, how do people avoid fakes? Is there a strategy? Is there something you should look for? That's so cool.
Well, this is amazing thing that you just asked, because the transit that we're going to be having for the next year is going to be actually exposing a lot of smooth talkers. So I would definitely say around April 10th to around August 11th of 2019, if you see something, make sure you keep it in the back of your head with some people around you, because you may find out certain information about these people after the 11th of August. So pay attention to that. And I actually have some videos on my YouTube series that are posted for this transit for each and every zodiac sign if they're interested. And really just learning how and what area of their life this kind of energy is going to be very active.
Excellent. Do you think this is I know there's professional astrologers. I know I'm in the process of letting you go because I know you have something to do. But do you think this is and will be sustainable as far as a business, because you see so many come and go. I've seen many come and go very quickly. How sustainable do you think this is as a business, as a profession?
Well, I mean, I think anything that can sustain ancient time and is still here is very sustainable and lucrative business. I mean, we tell the weather by listening to Weatherman. So, you know, I feel like astrology is energy reading. That's really all it is. We're just tracking energy, and it helps you understand how to go with the flow instead of going against the tide of your energy, not the whole world, but your energy, more so that. So, as long as people want to learn about themselves, as long as people want to learn about timing, as long as people want to understand themselves on a deeper level, on an elemental level, um, this kind of profession will always be around.
Mm, excellent. Do you have to have a certain gift is it a certain gift that you have that, or and not just you, but just all astrologers have that maybe others don't, that allows you to do this reading outside of just studying signs, so to speak?
I think that you have to like people.
Mm,
I think that you also need to be tolerant, and that you need to understand that people come in every different way that you can possibly imagine, and that you have to be open minded enough to meet them where they are and be fair enough with the judgment and the experience that you have when you're an astrologer, because it is a sensitive subject when you are able to see a lot of things in this person's life. Some things they don't want to talk about. It's best to just keep it like that instead of bringing things like that up. So you do have to have respect also for the human experience, because not everybody's ready for certain things at certain times, and telling them too much may not be a good thing either.
excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for that. I definitely love what you've done. It's great when passion kind of meets purpose a little bit. Like you said, this was something that you loved, from a very young age in your early teens, and although you suppressed it for a little bit, it just started to manifest out in so many different ways. And now you're coming out with a book, right? So that just shows that when you have an itch or a bug or something that's there for you, make sure you're able to just really showcase it to the world. And now you have a business behind what you were passionate about, for almost 2 decades now.
Yes, I do. It's very, very fulfilling, to be honest with you. I love it. I wouldn't change it.
Awesome. Make sure you go follow Aquila. Like I said, at Aquila Moon on Instagram, on
Yeah.
YouTube, Aquila Astrologer,
Aquila Astrology.
Aquila Astrology. That's Aquila, by the way. Website coming soon. As soon as that's up, I'll get that to you guys as well, so you can take a look at that. And again, thank you so much. We'll definitely be in touch, and I can't wait for my next reading. I think I'm due for one soon.
No problem.
All right, guys, take care. Thank you so much.